Boys and girls, you're listening and watching. Uh, it's a special. Um, Peter talks Ultima Lucha. I watch this show, Lucha Underground. I really, really enjoy it. I enjoy it so much that I much rather not review it ever. I just want to sit back and just watch it for what it is and then just move on. I've decided not to because I don't want watching that to be as much of a job as say reviewing the WWE product. From time to time I've done a ROH review. I think I did. What the hell is it called? Best in the World. I've done some other commentaries, podcasts, and all that stuff. But I try to just stick to the WWE product and just enjoy the other stuff. Lucha Underground being one of them, ROH being another, and NXT. I like to sit back and not take notes and just enjoy it for what it is. But when you get to these sort of finales and some pay-per-views, a lot of them, it's worth doing a little bit of work. It's worth taking notes, and it's worth sharing and reviewing. And I understand that this show was it's like 4 days ago. Maybe there's like everything floating around already about it. But hell, why not? I'm just now getting to watch it. Again, I don't have TV or cable or any of that shit. So a lot of the times I have to wait for it to upload and then watch it then. And honestly, I'd much rather have it that way. Wednesday nights is like wrestling Wednesdays. There's like a billion things going on between what's happening on Destination America and then the NXT show. And I do my Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling podcast that day. So it's not like I have the liberty to actually sit down and just watch all of the content. And with that said, I do want to talk about Lucha Underground season finale, Ultima Lucha Night 2. This is the second night of the finale of season 1. And the first night was the Mac versus, they call him Cage, and a couple of other matches that were more or less pre-show filler going into to sort of close out those guys going into, say, what night 2 was, which was like all the big matches. All like the biggest stars they have on there and the transition of a possible second season. Like just big payoffs and swerves and things of that nature. And to be able to fit what they did in 2 hours is pretty amazing. They had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 matches. Like 5 matches that were all emotional to a certain extent. I found myself just being like really, really absorbed into what storyline was being told. And it didn't disappoint. They had great shots of the crowd of like anxiety and like worry and excitement. They did a great job, and hats off to all the people, all the guys that were working, guys and girls that were working this show, because when you start talking about like awards and like Emmys and all that shit, how this fucking show, I think it was almost nominated for like production and directing, how this show can sort of get past anybody in the Emmy like guild, it just amazes me. it amazes me. Everything about this fucking show, and it's something fresh, it's something new in terms of like that kind of mainstream or almost mainstream sort of appeal to it. I mean, it's produced better than most television shows you see, and they're getting paid millions of dollars like the actors and actresses. This to me is almost at the same level, and at the same time it's like exciting and athletic. and and even the storylines in between, especially with Black Lotus and Dario Cuerdo, um, and Matanza, and that whole thing, and whenever it shoots to him and him dealing with the Ultima Lucha, the Lucha Underground talent. But let's go into this motherfucker, man, because yeah, we don't know if there's a second season yet. We don't know, and maybe this is by design that we are left wanting more, and we're left demanding that they find another fucking contract. Will they be on El Rey next season? We don't know. Will they? If they do, will they have the same budget? Will they be able to shoot in this same style? We don't know. So with all that said, let's go into this motherfucker. It starts with the season recap, and it just goes over the story of Prince Puma, Pentagon Jr. They fast forward to the Gift of the Gods, which is the belt with all the Aztec medallions that are inside of it. Sort of like its version of Money in the Bank, but you just can't cash it in, as Cuerdo says. He wants to promote the match. They go over the Tejano Blue Demon feud. They go over the Johnny Mundo, El Patron, Alberto El Patron, who is Del Rio feud. They talk about Mil Muertes, and then they focus on Black Lotus, who's in the jail cell beside Matanza. And on commentary, we have Matt Stryker and Michael Chavello. Now, don't hold that against me because I've never really heard of him. I don't watch Access TV, or do I watch a lot of MMA or anything like that. But apparently this dude's a big fucking deal. I had to look him up, and he's done a bunch of matches. And he's called The Voice. Because he's just a big fight fan, and he's been calling matches for quite some time, a lot of different places. So he's filling in, and it's an interesting dynamic because normally when it's just Vampiro and Matt Stryker is the one that it's the more, he's calling the matches and he's the more excited one. Where Vampiro is just kind of like, he's kind of color commentary rather than calling the matches. But we have two color commentators at this, and I don't know what kind of agreement that they had, but it seems that Michael Chavello, he was given more of the rub to call the action, and Matt Stryker had to take a lesser role in color, even though he was still calling some of the matches at time. It was a bit of an overload. And I think right at the beginning, and which is the Johnny Mundo versus El Patron match, you can see that Matt Stryker was about to compete, and it was like no. And I think he sort of called himself and brought it down a notch. But this Michael Chavello guy, he was all over the place. An interesting dynamic of him calling the match. You know, it really gave it a big fight feel. Hell, all this entire episode had like a really big fight feel. So I started writing notes because I'm not used to writing lucha libre notes because it's like spot after spot after spot. Now, I'm not calling it a spot fest. It is lucha libre, and a show to this caliber, there's a lot of moves. So I try to like take notes, and I was just like, nah, I'll just talk about it. But like Mundo and El Patron showing up with the AAA Mega belt too, which looks really good. That's a sick ass belt. And it starts off with Johnny Mundo kind of running away from El Patron, and he's this wily heel now. I mean, his match, he had a couple of matches where he's been heel, the All Night Long match, uh, all that stuff where he's just been playing a very compelling heel. And he also had like a really cool uh, interview with Stone Cold Steve Austin. So if you haven't listened to that yet, go and check out um, Steve Austin show, Unleashed, and Johnny Mundo. Fucking fantastic interview. He's actually talking about his heel turn, and he's talking about Lucha Underground. Well, anyway, fucking Johnny Mundo gets the win with assistance from Melina, who just out of nowhere shows up. I guess she's now, well, until we find out what happens second season. She's signed with, I guess, El Rey, Lucha Underground, and whatnot. Competitive match. I mean, it was just all over the place. A lot of big spots, man. A lot of big spots. But it just took fucking Melina to hit fucking El Patron in the head with the belt, which results in another Starship Pain, I guess. I don't know, like end of the world, I think it's called. Yeah, end of the world. Once Starship Pain, he wins with that, and afterwards, as they're standing tall, El Patron's not having that. So he takes Johnny Mundo, beats the living shit out of him, and in return, throws his ass through a window and a door. Sort of turning the tide, say, when Mundo threw Del Rio, or Patron, through the office window. So he goes flying through the window. Melina, she's like, attacks Patron, just slaps him, and he's like no selling like hell. He's just sort of taking it and smirking her, and then he bends her ass over and he spanks her, which was pretty kind of hot because I've always been a fan of Melina because she has a amazing ass. So he's sitting there like just spanking it, place going nuts, and Patron stands tall, and then they shoot back over to Mundo, and he's bleeding like fuck, like just blood everywhere. Got some damn red. And then after that, it shoots to the storyline with Black Lotus and Dario Cueto. And she's in the cell right beside Matanza, who is Dario Cueto's big evil brother, who we haven't seen yet. He's already killed a motherfucker, and it seems like she wants to destroy the brother to take revenge for, I guess, the death of her parents. And Cuerdo last week convinces her, or tells her, that he didn't kill, or his brother Matanza didn't kill Black Lotus's parents. It was actually Dragon Azteca who's responsible for killing your parents. So I think when he shows up, he actually shows up to rescue her. And Dario Cueto tells him that you broke the treaty by entering the temple. I guess they've had a treaty that, like, if he was to give Black Lotus up, that never return. But he shows up to save. I guess he's there to save Black Lotus. And the punishment of this breakage of the treaty is death. So Black Lotus, who's still pretty pissed off, and now has blamed Dragon Azteca, through the bars, puts him in a chokehold, and then gives him the shot of death, like the death blow, death strike that she's been practicing on the wall in the cell, and he's dead. He's dead in a motherfucker. So anyone who's been keeping up, this is the second murder on this show. The first was one of the crew, Matanza, like just eats his face off. This is the second where, Black Lotus sends a death blow to the lower spine, and he's dead. And then Cuerdo takes her out the jail. It's like, come with me. And she turns around, she looks at Matanza. It's like, hey, what about this thing? So he's coming with us. And he unlocks the door, and out comes Matanza. We don't see it. We just sort of see the point of view of him at Cuerdo. And they all leave together. One big, happy, fucked up family. Next up, we have Pentagon Jr. versus Vampiro, coming out in a sick outfit, by the way, like the killer priest. And this is the Caro Medo, I think that's how you say it, which means zero fear. It's a zero fear match. So basically, this is just a hardcore match, to the nth degree. It's blood. It's fucking just painful. It's painful. This is because I'm not someone who really likes hardcore matches. Can't stand them. It makes me queasy. I don't like to see guys for peanuts like really put their body through that much agony and pain. I mean, people who watch ECW and see barbed wire and thumbtacks and all that shit. I've never been a fan of ECW. I've never watched it. But this is part of the fucking Ultima Lucha show, so I guess I have to watch it. And it's the first time in about over a decade that Vampiro has actually been in a ring. And at first, Pentagon Jr. just lays the smackdown on Vampiro, just beating the living shit out of him. He like attacks him with a chair to start, like it's just straight off the bat. Like here's a chair to your fucking face, and then it goes into the stands, and Vampiro's just taking a fucking beating. He's even put into a fisherman's carry to the exposed mat. He lifts, Pentagon lifts up the fucking mats and gives a fisherman's carry to Vampiro. He lands smack on this thing, and he's just hitting him with chair after chair after chair, to the point to where the referee stops the match, and between Matt Striker and Michael Cervello, they're just like, this is sickening. I can't stand it. By God, that man has a family. And they stop the match. He throws up the X, breaking kayfabe. Next thing you know, they go to break. After break, Vampiro's on a stretcher. He's about to go into the ambulance to get shipped the fuck out. But he wakes up and he punches the poor fucking guy trying to help him. That guy ain't done nothing. He's trying to get you some fucking aid, and you just pop him right in the head, Vampiro. You jerk. Well, anyway, he gets up, he comes back, and the momentum shifts, and he whips out the thumbtacks. Oh God, he whips out the thumbtacks, and he sprinkles it on the fucking the ground, and he slams Pentagon Jr. on top of the tacks, and then Pentagon does a missed moonsault. No, it's actually Vampiro does a moonsault, and he misses landing on the tacks. Oh God. Next thing you know, Pentagon go grab some fucking fluorescent lights and just bust one over the fucking head of Vampiro. And then he stabs him with the broken piece of the fucking fluorescent light. And then there's a point where Pentagon is thrown into the lights. It just blood everywhere by now. I mean, it's a bloody mess by now. He goes to try to take off his mask. He gets his mask off like halfway, which is like, oh my God, like this is fucking nuts. And then you get the belly-to-belly off the top buckle onto the tacks. This is Vampiro onto Pentagon. And then, oh yeah. When Vampiro actually goes out, gets a fucking table, gets lighter fluid, takes out a match, sets the motherfucking table on fire. All that weight, Pentagon is able to get his energy back, grab fucking Vampiro, rock bottoms his ass on the burning table. Place fucking goes nuts. Fire extinguishers blowing his ass out. He can't get the fire off him fast enough. He's fucking just burning. And then he lays out as the fire extinguisher is still on him. And Pentagon goes out to pin him for the 1, 2, 3. And then Pentagon stands tall in a bloody mess. His mask is half off his face. Vampiro comes back in the ring. And he offers his arm. He's like, yay! Break my arm. Finish the job. And then Pentagon breaks the arm. Next thing you know, he's like, Master, I've done this for you. And Vampiro's like, good job. You are, you've passed the test, my son. So big swerve. This whole master that Pentagon's been talking about for the past couple of weeks has been Vampiro the entire time. Talk about a swerve, huh? No one saw it coming. And they're in the ring and they're laughing and hugging. They look like they're having fun. It's a fun time. It looks like Vampiro's back in character. Alright, this big clusterfuck of a match. This is the Gift of the Gods match. It's like 7 participants to get this sort of Gift of the Gods belt, which you can use to get a championship shot. Again, not a cash in, but you just say, hey, I want to challenge your bitch ass, whoever has the belt. So we have Phoenix, Sexy Star, Big Rick, Aerostar, Bengawa, Jack Evans, and King Guerner. And this is a fucking amazing match, by the way. Amazing. It's ridiculous. It tells a story. And it just, it flowed. It really flowed. There was no moment where things stopped and it was awkward. And actually, the theme of the whole night is that Big Rick is basically like the powerhouse. He's in there cleaning house and fucking like, just fucking everyone up. No one's a fucking, he leaves no stone unturned. He even fucks up Sexy Star a couple of times. And the big spot of the night is basically Aerostar all of a sudden just appears on top of like the top deck. And he just jumps down on every fucking body. Because there's a lot of big spots where big suicide dives and everyone's jumping. There's even one where you think Big Rick is about to do a suicide dive. But, in fact, this motherfucking Aerostar, I don't know what, no one knew where he went. But he's on the 3rd fucking floor. And he just dives like 3 fucking stories onto motherfuckers. And that basically cleared out the house. Which leaves Phoenix and Jack Evans in the ring. And Phoenix pins Jack Evans. So Phoenix, who I thought was going to win this, wins the Gift of the Gods. I know there's a lot of shit in there that I'm probably missing out on. But it's no way in hell I would be able to tell you play by play what happened. Because it was it was ridiculous. So yeah. Phoenix has the belt, so he can use it at any given point in time. And I thought about this. I was like, in my head, I go, well, I think Prince Puma will not be retaining the belt. Because you got a babyface with the belt, with this sort of Gift of the Gods belt to cash in. So it's no way he can, like, they're going to cash it in on Prince Puma. That's what I'm thinking. Tejano versus Blue Demon in a no disqualifications match, which is set on the spot by Blue Demon, accompanied by the crew, to basically give him the upper hand. And this is not that long of a match, honestly. Um, not long of a match at all, because everybody just kind of gangs up on Tejano. Uh, Chavo shows up, and it looks like they're about to turn the table. It's like a double swerve because Blue Demon's been, I think he's been heel for about 3 weeks now. And Chavo started off as a heel against Blue Demon by beating the shit out of him with a chair. But all of a sudden, Chavo shows up with a chair, and you're thinking, oh man, alright, babyface Chavo. Nope. He smacks the shit out of Tano and gives the chair to Blue Demon. Basically, this is where it all started, kind of thing. And now I'm handing you the chair to use on Tiano. And he gives him a big old shot to the head and steps on his chest for the pin. It kind of forced the referee to sort of make the pin because he's like devastated by what's happening. And Blue Demon and Chavo Guerrero stands tall together, and they align. Two big families who's always been at each other's throats for a while, and now they're aligning, and I guess powers combined. We're to see what's to happen of this relationship between the two, who started the show as like bitter enemies. He took Blue Demon out, beat the living crap out of him, and now they're in the season as homies, as broskies. And we get to the last fucking match, which is Mil Muertes versus Prince Puma, which is a match from the heavens. And not because, again, this is Lucha Libre. This is not spot fest. You know, ROH can be a little spotty, and New Japan can be a little spotty. But this is Lucha Libre. So you're going to get a lot of big spots and a lot of high flying. And that's all part of the gimmick, all right? This match, and you know, I'm not a spot monkey myself. I like to tell the stories. But this was able to convey both. But the spots and the storytelling without being too much. And again, you have to take into consideration they're doing this within like 2 hours, this entire show. So now you got to get this main event in and give them allowed time and move swiftly. And move smoothly. But basically, Mil Muertes wins, right? Which I thought was going to happen. But after this match, so much happened. So many kickouts. So many fucking near falls, so many big moves. It was just pretty brutal stuff. Brutal stuff. There's a spot where the table's outside and he spears him through the... Mil Muertes spears Puma through the ropes, and they don't catch the full table. They catch the edge of the table, but then he picks his ass up and power bombs him through the rest of the table. That was pretty sick. I think there was a suicide dive met with a chair. Met with a motherfucking chair. That was pretty brutal. You can go on and on and on with how many spots was in this match. I mean, just go back and watch the motherfucker. But we have the Death Family in the ring. Oh yeah, by the way, he wins with a second flatliner. The first one, he tried to finish him. The second one was off the top buckle. What is it? Was it anything? Yeah, I mean, there was no real interference or nothing. It was just a straight competitive match. And Mil Muertes get the second flatliner off the top rope. I think Prince Puma's trying to do another spinning senton or some shit like that, and he just gets caught. He gets caught in the web of death, and they stand tall together. He has the belt, and then you get the lick of death from Katrina, and the Disciples of Death show up with their belts because they had just beat the Trios They just won the trios match from last week. Lick of Death, and then boom, you see like this is these are your champions, bro. So as soon as that's done, and again, that's what I thought was going to happen, being that Phoenix won the Gift of the Gods belt. After that, Dario Cueto and Black Lotus are like scrambling to like get the money and escape. He looks outside, he sees that the Death family has won all the belts, and he's like, bad times are ahead. And they scramble to get money and whatever to get the fuck out of the temple. They leave in a car where you see Matanza's head out the back of the truck. Phoenix leaves in a sweet Trans Am, man. Fucking sweet Trans Am. And he has the belt, and as he pulls out, he's followed by a truck. I'm thinking maybe that's Tejano or something. Martyr the Moth somehow has gotten Sexy Star trapped, tied up in the back. Like, how the fuck did that happen? Because he's been getting his ass handed to her. Getting his ass handed to him from her over the past 3 weeks. But for some reason, he's captured her, has her ass tied up, and he has like the one spotlight over. He's like, oh, you think I'm a joke? Wait till you meet my sister. You think everything's funny? Wait till you meet my sister. So, there you have that. Son of Havoc and Angelico say goodbye with the vow that they were going to get their belts back. Son of Havoc hops on the back of Evil Lisa's hog, and then they ride off. Aristo and Drago, they're like, all right, bro, it's been real, son. I guess they're homies now, because they had a battle, I think a couple of weeks. Well, this is mid-season where they had their epic sort of, I think, 5 matches, and they had 5 matches that were all pretty epic. I guess through that battle they've become friends, and they're like, yo, peace, homie, and they both leave in their like fantastic way. Drago leaves in like a ball of fire, and then Aerostar, he like propels himself. It's like he just shoots off like a rocket. And then with a Pentagon Jr. and Vampiro's in the back, it's like, what we do now? He's like, hey, I don't know, we're gonna do something. And then you see the Dragon Azteca mask, and it's a guy in a hood who puts it on. And next thing you know, you see him spray paint a question mark over the Lucha Underground billboard. And then there's a shot of Dario Cueto. He's already left. I don't know what the hell this was all about, but I guess this was before he made it to the car. But you see him sort of panning forward, and the temple behind him, and then it goes black. And next thing you see is to be continued. And that ends season 1 of Lucha Underground in fucking fantastic fashion. Again, all of these fucking matches were awesome. I really hope they get a second chance, a second season, but maybe this is all part of the shtick to make us worry, because I say this, and I mean this from the inner Mark in me, that Lucha Underground, this first season, was the best wrestling television I think I've ever seen in my entire life. It was fresh, it was new, it was groundbreaking. Kudos. It could never be done again. You know, anyone else who tried to do this kind of shit would just be imitating. They set the standard for production, and talent, and storytelling. It was a good run. So even if they don't get a second season, this is going to be one for the books. This is something that's going to be like, I can go back and watch this season over and over and over again, even without any more seasons. You know, it could be like a cult thing. Like, it could be, this has the potential to be as much of a cult classic sort of season of a show as, say, Twin Peaks or some bullshit. Well, anyway, I quite enjoyed it, and I hope you made it through this review It's tough to do lucha and this style of like entertainment and do a review because it's not as fluid and continuous as say with WWE. But I did it, yay! And I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you hit that subscribe button below. Add me on Facebook, not Facebook. Add me on Twitter, PJTW Central, and then also go to pjtwcentral.com. Just bookmark that shit. All the posts are on there, whether it's SoundCloud, Stitcher, and if you have a Tumblr account, and YouTube. And yeah, I thought I won't be seeing you until Monday, but I had to get this in. I decided last minute to put this up. And again, I hope you're able to get through it and had a good time listening. I will see you tomorrow for Peter's Raw recap. Yeah. So again, avoid those foreign objects, man. Always be the legal man. Peace.